If you wanted to play games on the go until now, you had to buy a handheld console like the Nintendo Switch or a portable gaming PC, which is usually too expensive or underpowered. But now we have the Steam Deck. Hello and welcome to another NihongoGamer video. If you don't know what this is, check out one of my previous videos on the Steam Deck. I've been really excited about this product, but I haven't been able to buy it because, as you know, there's a silicon shortage worldwide, which we are only just coming out of, and it looks like supply shortages are being fixed, which means that more people can actually buy this device, which we all pre-ordered a year ago. Inside this box is a handheld gaming PC, but it is affordable, $399 for the base version. The one I've got is the top model, which has extra storage, which actually sets the cost at $650, which is much more expensive than the base model, but the innards that actually run the device are pretty much the same. Now, just for comparison, if you want to play games on the go, usually you have to buy a handheld console like the Switch, which is $300, or the OLED version, which is $350. So, for only $50 more, you're getting a fully fledged gaming PC, which you can load any operating system onto it that you want, play any game from your Steam library that you want, and more importantly, it starts to blur the boundaries between the PC and console. But we can talk about that in future videos. What I want to do today is get it out the box. I'm super excited because I have been waiting a year for this, and to be honest, it wasn't even available to pre-order in Japan until like a week or two ago. They finally opened up pre-orders. The reason I have this one a little bit earlier than the Japanese pre-orders is because I have a friend who lives in a foreign country. They didn't need a Steam Deck, so they let me pre-order on their account. So this might well be one of the first Steam Deck units to arrive in Japan at all. Time to open the box. Let's have a look, and hopefully I don't drop it out. Take out this piece of plastic, which is a picture of a Steam Deck, maybe some shortcuts. We've got a power adapter, but I think what we're really excited about opening is the main unit. So I'm just going to put this other stuff to the side. Your games are going places, and that is the main thing. This is not just a new handheld, because we've had we've had a large number of handheld gaming consoles before, but the point about this device is that it runs your Steam library. Not a lot of people have hundreds of Nintendo Switch games because often they're more expensive, even though they're the same games on Steam. But now that you can actually bring your Steam library around with you, maybe you'll actually play some of those games that you bought really cheaply on the Steam sales. So this phrase, your games are going places, is actually kind of significant, because really what it means is your Steam games are going places. I'm not going to read too many of the details. Let's just remove this cardboard. We don't need that. This is a very nice case. You know, it's got non-generic caps on the zippers over here. It's even got a little tag here that says Valve on it. It's got a handle on it. On the back of the case, there's even got, what is this? Some kind of cable management baggie. I don't even know what that's for. Throw that away. I don't know what this is for, but there's some kind of elastic on the back of it. Maybe you would like slide it on the back of your bicycle. Anyway, before I destroy the unit, let's go ahead and open it out of this zip container. I thought this was just a decorative label, but it looks like it's tamper proofing to make sure they know that you're the first person to open it. So just cut that off, chuck that in the air, and now it's time to unzip it for the first time. It is so big! I've never seen one in person. This is not something you could just walk into the shops and actually see what it looks like, but holding it in real life now, this thing is massive. Hold on a second. The Steam Deck is like a giant compared to the Nintendo Switch. So the first thing you might notice that's different about this Steam Deck is that the $650 model is the only one that has an etched glass screen, and so it has a matte finish and it's not as glossy, which will reduce glare when you're playing games maybe on the bus, outside, or on a bench somewhere. So it'll be interesting in the future to check out just how good this screen is at deflecting sunlight and not allowing the glare to ruin your gaming experience. But on the sides you've got analog sticks, you've got touch pads which emulate the mouse pad, I believe. You think you might be able to use this also to control the on-screen keyboard. You've got your buttons. They feel pretty good, actually. They're not too hard. Sometimes on certain controllers, pressing them requires like too much force. Let's try out the D-pad. Okay, seems alright so far. I'm told by the rumor mill that it does have a pivot in the middle, which, as you know, on this channel I'm a big stickler for D-pads having pivots in the middle, which is super helpful in my opinion for fighting games. It looks like you've got a Steam button here on the side. I don't 100% know what these dotted buttons are, and these both look like start and options buttons, but then I think the coolest looking part is actually the top. It looks like heat will be removed from the device through the vent here at the top. I see a USB-C port. You've also got the power button and a port for your standard headphones. You're not forced to use USB headphones or Bluetooth or anything silly like that. I've got plus and minus, but presumably this is just for the volume controls, and this is something you don't see on a lot of consoles, or especially handhelds. Look at the array of buttons on the back here. 2 shoulder buttons, 2 shoulder triggers, and you've also got back buttons. 4 back buttons, and some proudly displayed Valve branding here on the back. Presumably this here is also for heat dissipation. One thing I've never been a huge fan of is this form factor in general. I'm actually a much bigger fan of things like the Nintendo DS or the Nintendo 3DS, because then I can have my hands closer together and I have the screen higher up, so my face is looking straight up at the screen, my hands are not out here like this. Just holding my hands on it right now, it does feel a little bit strange to have the D-pad so far off to the side and these buttons so far off to the side. I don't think it's going to be uncomfortable to play, but it does feel like if you could choose the perfect position for them, you would have the buttons a little further in and this D-pad a little bit further in. But clearly making sure that this device was going to be compatible with as many games as possible, getting these touchpads into the controller seems to be a big deal for Valve. It's quite a weighty device. I won't say that it's heavy, but it's definitely weighty and it feels high quality. Not that weight really tells you anything about quality of a product these days. To be honest, when I didn't know if my Steam Deck was going to arrive in the near future, I was actually considering buying an OLED Switch just so I could have a handheld with a slightly bigger screen. But I'm so glad I have a Steam Deck now, because no more need to buy the same game twice just so I can play it handheld. Like, my Steam library is my Steam library. I'm just going to use that one library and bring it around on this. Speaking of storage, this $650 version does have 512 gigabytes of storage, which is plenty for games. I'm sure that many of you own like terabytes full of games, but 512 gigs is quite a lot to be carrying around. Considering my Nintendo Switch, I've been putting cartridges and stuff in this, but when I play download-only games, I use the SD card, and the only SD card I've ever put in here is a 128 gigabyte card, which is still not full. So no, 512 gigabytes is not going to last forever, but I think it's going to be plenty of space for now. Plus, this still does have an SD card, and as I understand, you can hot swap these SD cards, so maybe you can have action games on one SD card and fighting games on another SD card, so kind of use them a bit like mini discs? It's a bit like mini discs, actually. And now I've probably lost a large number of you because you're like, mini disc? What's that? In terms of the feel, I love the way that these grip handles work. I don't like that your hands are like out like this at this angle. I would prefer if my hands were more inward like this at a diagonal angle. But as you can see, because it's very straight along this handle, your hands kind of go straight out of your body like this, and I don't think this is quite natural, because also if I have my arms resting on my armrests like this, you can see the angle that it's created here. It's like bending from my arm into my wrist. But in fairness, this is the same thing that happens with a Nintendo Switch. I actually prefer to play on a Nintendo Switch with controllers that have like a bit of a wing out here. I think the first impression I have about this before I've even turned it on is, wow, it reminds me of the Game Gear. But I really like that even though this is a very slim device, they've made sure that the grips are proper handles that you can enjoy gripping onto and playing games properly without going for the completely flat design of the Nintendo Switch. Let's watch it for the first time, boot up. Oh, there it is, the Steam Deck logo. I can smell this. That is so weird. The first time I used my Vive, my HTC Vive, which is not made by Valve, it had the same smell. And now that I've logged into my internet, it is installing the latest updates, and I'll soon be able to use my Steam Deck. Listen, that's all I have for today. Just wanted to unbox the Steam Deck. It comes with this snazzy case. You turn it on, it downloads, its updates. I'm looking forward to trying out all sorts of games. I want to plug in all sorts of controllers into it. I want to test it outside, I want to test it inside. I want to talk about the future of handheld consoles, the future of PC gaming, the future of console gaming, the way that this is going to change the way that we play games, or maybe not change the way we play games. There's so much that I want to talk about with the Steam Deck, and I've been thinking about it since I made those videos a year ago, and now I can finally get into actually testing out this unit and seeing if it lives up to the promises, not that it made promises, the promises that it made about how it's going to change the way we play our handheld games. If you're interested to see more content on Steam Deck when it happens, be sure to subscribe to this channel. If you're not already following me on Twitch, you can do so for free. You can join the NihongoGamer Discord, where you can talk with other people who are interested in the channel and things that we show here on the channel, like gear, Japan, fighting games, art. And last but not least, you can follow me on Twitter at NihongoGamer. I'm looking forward to trying all this stuff out, and I'm gonna hit you with tons of Steam Deck videos, so be ready for it. So that's all for today. I'm crazy excited. I'll see you all in the next NihongoGamer video and/or stream.